So much time lost to the memories of a meta that no longer exists. A time when things were honest, noble, untouched by power creep. A time when one slippery boy was enough. A time when the scariest threat was a haunting woman who demanded I sacrifice the things that I held dearest. I believed those days were gone, buried, lost forever. But I will be uninteractable again.
Hello, today I'm going to be playing a deck that actually is very close to my heart, a deck that I kind of fell in love with when I used to play Modern, and that is Modern Bogles. Hey there, Editor Matt here, and just a quick little side note, while going over the footage that you're about to see, I realized just how extraordinarily tired I actually was yesterday when I was filming the intro and the gameplay for this video. Try to get past the brain fog. It is very heavy in this video, and while the misplays are what they are. The deck is absolutely awesome. It slaps pretty hard, and I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Now, try my best to make that a deck in Pioneer, and well, it's okay. I'll be perfectly honest right up front, it's not the best deck, and you probably are not going to experience the most success playing this deck because, well, it's just not quite there. Slippery Bogle is one of my favorite cards, and I really wish it were in the format, but it is not here. So we're a little bit pinched on what we can load up with all these enchantments. So of course, if you don't know, the crux of the deck is you want a bunch of small, cheap, hexproof creatures that are completely uninteractable, which then you can load up with a pile of enchantments and swing in with a giant creature. I used to call this my Batman deck. You know, you have this very simple, humble, useless creature, and then you give it a whole bunch of equipment and hope it gets the game done for you. So in Pioneer, we do have the Glade Cover Scout. This is your ideal Bogle in this deck, but that's it. And outside of this card, really the only other one is the Toadstool Admirer, and not quite hexproof, right? It has Ward 2, which sometimes works out, but you have to be a little bit more cautious loading up a card like the Admirer compared to the Scout. Now, I've seen other decks online, they don't play as many of the Toadstool Admirers. I like to have the full playset of 4 because you need to have a creature. Without a creature on the field, this deck does not function whatsoever. The other big thing about this deck is that it's actually pretty budget friendly. Of course, okay, there are the lands, and that's going to be a couple of rare slots for you. You don't necessarily need Boseiju, but I would say you need some number of dual lands. It is a pretty heavy white oriented deck. However, because you need a green source for that first turn drop, you get your Scout out, you do need to make sure you have at least a dual land on turn 1. So a good number of them is necessary. Outside of the lands though, the only rares in the deck are the 4 copies of Shrem and the 4 copies of Light Paws. These cards are very vulnerable. They are 2/2s, both of them, but they provide something very important to the deck, and that is a lot of card draw. What they do is they allow you to start playing out these cheap auras and just start churning through your deck. Now, they do it in a little bit different ways. Shrem just straight up will draw you a card. Light Paws is a little bit different. When you throw an enchantment onto a creature, well, you can search your library for an equal mana value enchantment or less and attach it to Light Paws. The dangerous thing here is that Light Paws is vulnerable, and you are sometimes loading Light Paws up with auras, so it is susceptible to some removal. You just have to play very carefully. Now, this deck is Many people would argue a Boggles deck is pretty brain dead. However, there is a lot of strategy in the deck. I think you have to know how to mulligan properly. You're going to be mulliganing quite a bit because you need to have a good opening hand, and you'll see that in videos or in some of the gameplay. I'm absolutely certain about that. And then knowing when you can deploy one of these vulnerable cards like a Shrem or a Light Pause is very important. Over in the sideboard, well, there is some stuff. The sideboard is the thing I'm still working on. I think the main board is pretty much where I want it to be. I don't know if there are many other better choices to be putting into the main board, so I'm pretty set on that. The sideboard definitely has some area for tweaking. A little bit of removal, just because if you go up against mono red, you do probably need to slow down that early turn 1 mouse, turn 2 mouse nonsense, because even if you do get a big scout on the field, you're not going to be able to keep up with that. Equally, you need to recover a little bit in some of those mono red decks, so I am playing around with Unflinching Courage, a card that I actually like quite a bit, but it is on the weaker side. It is 3 CMC versus a lot of the 1 and 2 CMC cards. Now, we do have a little bit of lifelink in the main board with probably the, I don't want to say it's the best aura. There are 3 auras in the deck that really stand out above the other auras, and this would be one of those 3, Sheltered by Ghost. It gives a little bit of a bonus power boost. It gives a little bit of protection with the ward too, so putting a Sheltered Ghost on top of a Toadstool Admirer, giving a total of 4 effective ward is pretty sweet. And it also removes something from the opponent, but that lifelink is the key to this one, because sometimes, quite often, you need to be overwhelming your opponent with a big threat and also gaining a lot of life so they can't just pick you off. Among the other very important auras in the deck, Ethereal Armor. It's going to give +1/+1 and first strike for each enchantment that you control. There'll be auras in this case. And then All That Glitters is giving you +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment that you control. So those are the ones that are going to make our creatures huge. Other cards over in the sideboard, we have the Defector Mite. I don't know, how do you say his name? Skrelv? Skrelv? Maybe? I'm not sure. This is going to give a little bit of protection, so I think this card is probably going to be coming in against mostly the mono black matchups, is where I believe I'm playing this thing. Rest in peace, because graveyard stuff. We want to take care of that. I'm messing around with Heroic Intervention. I think if I run into a deck that is playing a lot of board wipes, maybe the mono black or a Yorion deck, this could be very interesting. And then Deafening Silence to deal with the Corey Steelcutter or the combo decks that are tapping and untapping Lotus Field, that annoying thing. This is going to work very well against those players. And then a Cartouche of Solidarity. This card, I wonder if I should actually have in the main board over maybe another Griff Spoon, because it is going to create a 1/1 token creature. There are a couple of things that we need to really watch out for with this deck. Number 1, Liliana of the Veil. Liliana of the Veil or Sheoldred's Edict, or any kind of edict effect, are those big things. You might have a giant scout on the field, but if they suddenly make you sacrifice something, well, you're going to be in trouble. The other thing that we're probably going to have to look out for, and we have really no way of stopping, is the temporary lockdown, which could be an argument for maybe having something in the sideboard that deals with enchantments. We do have the Beseiju. Maybe 2 copies of the Beseiju to hit a temporary lockdown might be a good thing to do. That I'm still thinking about. I actually haven't seen temporary lockdown too much lately, so it is what it is. But yeah, that is the deck. Going to throw it through a couple of games and hope things work out. See you over in the games. Alright, match number 1 against Kola. Our opponent is on the play. Let's pray for a good opening hand. Okay, a little bit land heavy. The deck is only playing 20 lands. It is a greedy deck, to say the least. Oh, Gruul aggro. Okay, this is going to be one of those matchups where we have to really hope to find the Sheltered by Ghosts. I think a Shelter by Ghost along with the All That Glitters probably guarantees a win here. That second Shrem is really, really unfortunate. If that were an aura, I would be thinking differently. I think I was going to hold back the Shrem for turn 3. A lot of times I think I want to have Shrem out and then to follow it up. Sorry, on turn 3 I want to play out the Shrem with 3 mana so I can have a turn play one CMC aura that can play in addition to Shrem to get a little bit of card draw. Wow, early morning talking is tough. Thankfully the opponent didn't have any kind of removal, so I think we're going to try our best to stay alive. They might just be on the aggro plan, and we are not drawing particularly well. I'm going to swing in with Shrem. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have held Shrem back for a block on the etching. I'm thinking I'm just going to take whatever damage they can put out here and pray that I hit at least one. Yeah, probably it was fine not to attack, or not to do anything. Okay, but down to 12. So if they have a burn spell, if they have another or monstrous rage, we're just too slow. It looks like we're too slow. Yeah. Well, what are you going to do against this opening from the opponent? That was a pretty good showing. Turn 4, very dead. Now they're playing Gruul. This configuration probably has the mice in it, so I feel like I want to bring in the Portable Hole, and I feel like I want to bring in the Unflinching Courage, even though they might be very fast. Probably I want to go down 1 Light Pot, 1 Shrem, just because they're super vulnerable. They're getting hit by every little thing that they have. Torch the Tower, they're going to have Burst Lightning, they're also probably going to have the Giant Killer. Not Giant Killer, the Giant that I like to use my Giant Killer to kill. Okay, so we got some stuff. I think I could probably trim an aura here or there. I don't like going down my creatures because they're very important, but we only need 1 for this matchup. And I guess we'll go down a Griff Spoon. Alright. Let's just hope that we don't get run over. I really want this deck to be a thing. I really love the type of play. I love throwing auras on my creatures, but it just doesn't necessarily work out. So if this were a dual land, man, oh man. Okay, gotta throw it back. And yeah, we'll try this. I don't like it though. Okay. The Toadstool Admirer on the play is a little bit better because it takes a longer time for them to build up enough mana to be able to hit the Toadstool with something that can kill it and still have 2 mana to pay the ward. And we're going to get into a bit of trouble with all of these lands now. Maybe it's just not my day. Not my day. It is early morning. That's probably why I'm stumbling. But I woke up and I decided, you know what? I wanna make something. I wanna film a video. That's pretty cool. I love this guy. Aloe Alchemist is a pretty sweet card. Now, and here's where we just win. And that's why this deck is awesome. This is gonna go on. Take out the Heartfire Hero. We're also going to throw an Audacity down. So now we have a 7/4 attacking, life-linking. Yeah, this is why you play the deck. Now I don't think there's really anything they can do. And, of course, they just scoop it up. Many would argue that Bogles is a very boring thing to play. And I kind of agree, because once you get your creature on the field loaded up, the opponents, they're just like, okay, this game's over. We don't need to bother anymore. And that's what you get. However, I think there is a good amount of strategy in the hands that you keep or you try out. Now here's an interesting one. I have the Shrem, and I have the Shard Mage's Rescue, which is going to give my Shrem Hexproof. I am going to be hurting myself quite a bit with these mana confluences, but I think I want to try it out. I want to try this but it's got to come out on turn 3 so that I have the mana up to play out the rescue. This is going to be a little sketchy. Now, we did get the portable hole, so that is good for a turn 2 mouse maybe or something like that. We're going to be able to use our mana at the very least instead of not playing out anything. Okay, we'll take out the Swift Spear. We're going to still get hit with the Kumano. Oops. But we'll get Swifty off the field. Now, they did get a pathway that they had to throw out on green, and I think probably for the Gruul deck, they don't necessarily want to be doing that. Okay, I don't hate my position. I do hate that I'm kind of hemorrhaging life, but Shelter by Ghost has lifelink. If I can get the Shard Mage's Rescue out this turn, and if it draws into something kind of good, if we can find... Okay. Oh no, this could be bad. But this is going to be a 3/3 blocker, so we can stop a little bit of damage. They're going to have the... Okay, thank God. I thought they were going to have the Goblin that I'm forgetting that has Surge and really run over me. So, got to pay 1 for this, but we're preventing 2 damage by paying 1. We get to draw with the Audacity. Let's get rid of the Etching, I guess. And... okay. Okay, a land might be good here. Okay, we'll take this. And I think... I wish I had prowess. I think I have really no choice. I have to throw the Audacity down. And if I draw a land, then I can maybe play out the other Audacity. Okay, good. So we can gain back at least a good chunk of life. I think this is probably the best play. I don't want to sit here at 2 life. They're just going to have something direct damage and kill me. I can go back up to 10 life. Now I'm a little bit vulnerable. Effectively it's 6 life, but they only have 2 mana. They have a lot of work that they have to do. Heartfire Heroes, no problem. Okay. Is that... I think that's it. I think we get it. Maybe I shouldn't have thrown out. Okay. Yes, beating Gruul aggro. Oh, lifelink. I love lifelink. Oh, it's... yeah. I'm smiling. I had fun. I don't think my opponent's checking the same box there. But, hey, to be fair, Shram was kind of interactable. If they had 3 mana, they could have done something, I'm sure. Whew. Okay. Oh, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Next one. Oh boy. Okay. So we are against a Yorion deck this time, maybe a little bit slower. This opening hand is what you should come to expect from this deck. For some reason, the deck loves to... not for some reason. The reason is that there are only 20 lands in the deck. And when you have only 20 lands in the deck, you have, according to this wonderful calculator I have over here, a chance to draw 2 or more of the wanted cards, 75.3%. Okay. What do I think about this hand? I think I have to keep it. I think I throw away the Sheltered by Ghost because it's probably not as important as it would be in some other matchups. The Orion deck, I think we have a little bit of time, but if they get some lands out and they're just sitting there holding up counter magic, it could be a problem. Ooh. Now I'm a little bit torn. I wasn't going to put out a creature, or I was going to just wait for the Shram. I think I still wait for a Shram. Okay. I think. Turn 3, let's hope we draw a land. If we draw a land, we can throw out our Dwarf Advisor and then a follow-up aura to start getting the Toadstool up a little bit. But we don't. But we do get a second Shram, so why not? They're up to temporary lockdown mana. That could be a problem. Ooh, a portable hole. Main board portable hole. Yikes. So again, missing on the land. I don't like the idea of loading up the Toadstool Admirer. It's too vulnerable. They're going to probably have a sweeper, but I feel like I have to put out a threat, so probably going to go out with the Light Paw. I do value Shram a little bit higher than Light Paw in the control matchup. If they have board wipes, oh brother's end main board. That is, somebody's hurt poor Windfish over there. If they have a lot of removal, I think Shram drawing me cards so that I can recover is a little bit better overall. Wow, things are not going as well as I thought they would. Weird draws. Now, I think because I have a green source, I don't want to go out with the Grifspoon and the Cartouche of Solidarity. Instead, I'm just going to go with all the glitters, use my mana as efficiently as I can, hope to draw into something. Now, because it's Shram on the field, I think I'm kind of fine throwing another Grifspoon out, or another Aura out in the case of this, a Grifspoon, because they seem to be having a little bit of a hard time with their lands. They're slow. They are also a elemental deck, I guess. I actually haven't seen Risen Reef in the longest time, and yeah, that's kind of neat. Also, Shram up to a 4 toughness creature. Obviously, your creatures that don't have the natural protection, you want to get them up to about 4 because so many things do 2 or 3 damage in the format. But we're drawing cards, we're going through the motions, and they're going to need something pretty special to slow down this dwarf, this Batman in the sky. Oh man. Okay, opponent took their time with that decision, but they're now tapped out. So do we win? Do we win? Let's throw out. I think if we draw a land, we 100% win. It's 7. I haven't. We're all kinds of fine. Do I BM and throw out another one? You know we do. We try to make a Shram as big as possible. Ooh boy. That is a 1918. Nice. Okay, so I do have the Heroic Interventions, and the Heroic Intervention was put in the deck to face off against these heavy board wipe oriented decks. I have to imagine the opponent is gonna take out a good amount of their spot removal and probably bring in a few more sweeper type effects. We'll see if that is the case. Now, bringing in the Heroic Intervention, what do I want to go down? I probably need a good amount of creatures in the deck to fight through the removal that they're going to have. I think in that case, the Sheltered by Ghost, it's a fantastic card, but I don't think the opponent is going to really threaten me enough that I need the lifelink. But the ward is still good, and removing something like a Hauntwood can be good. And then I think probably it's the Cartouche of Solidarity. So just trim a little bit on the auras, keep the massive creatures, and hope things go the same way as the last game did. That was smooth. Oh boy. All right, let's see what Windfish brought in to deal with the uninteractable. A quick little thing, I guess, is a good moment to. What's with that? What's with that weird glitch with my sleeve showing the face there? That's amazing. This is a very questionable hand, but it does draw me a card, and I do have the lands to maybe make something happen. I don't actually hate this keep, and I'm a little bit scared of throwing it away. But it doesn't do anything. And we're on the play. Or on the draw. I'm gonna keep it against my better judgment. I don't know. We'll see. Last video that I put out was the video about the economy, and yeah, a couple people watched it. Thank you for watching it, and some good comments on that video. I think the idea of highlighting some comments is a pretty neat thing. Ooh, drawing a second. Okay, I'm gonna throw it out just because it's here, and if they don't have any interaction, it's going to be a fantastic turn 3. But yeah, highlight some of the comments. We got Brandon O. Always a great, reliable commenter. I appreciate that, saying that it's a good perspective in that video. Thank you for saying that, and a solid demonstration of how atrocious the MTGA economy is. I feel like that was the, of the comments on that video, that was one of the reoccurring themes, is that most people agree the economy is pretty lacking and atrocious. Gore Obsessed says, when I realized I wanted a new deck every 2 weeks or so, and it was costing me $40, I had to quit. Yeah. Seems to be the case. Not hitting an aura here. Pretty brutal. Probably shouldn't have taken the auras out of the deck. I'm going to be a little bit risky, throw out a scout here, because I think I'd rather load up the scout than Shram, but we are vulnerable to another Brother's Hood end. A Golos. Okay, so we do have a chance here. Golos is just going to put a land on the field, and they go with the World Tree. Okay, I think this is a case of my deck just not doing things, but hey, we get to kill the Golos with the Boseiju, which ramps them even more, which is probably going to be the death of me, but I want to get in for 4 points of damage, and that's all I can do, and let's hope they have nothing else. And yeah, the last comment is from Fimo. Says, the payout for rare wildcards in Arena is indeed terrible. That alone drove me away from the game. When you have fest a considerable amount of money and you still can't even complete a competitive standard deck, it just leaves you with an overall bad feeling. And yeah, that is the case. Okay, so we drew a land, thank goodness, and not a land, an aura instead of a land. Let's hope Shram does some work for me. And I put it on the Shram because it can get in, and I knew that the Gladescover Scout wouldn't be able to get in if I didn't draw anything. Now they seem to be having a little bit of trouble over there. They only have the Yorion as a follow-up. I imagine they let this damage go through. Okay. I think we have to fade one more turn. Hopefully the opponent, I don't know, seems like they are struggling. They did not draw very well, but they just need one card to get back in this game, and let's hope that's not the case. A Kenrith? Hold up. What does Kenrith do? So all creatures get trample, they can put +1/+1 counters on things, they can gain life, they can draw cards, and they can put a target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under its owner's control. They have 5 mana up, and that is 5 mana, so they can put a Golos on the field, I guess? Okay, so here's the question. Do I put out the Light Paw and play the Sheltered by Ghosts, or do I just try to win by putting out a mass of cards? I feel like I want to put the Light Paw out. They don't have any more sweepers, is what I'm praying for, and I think it is just going to be... Do I load up the Shram or do I load up the Gladecover Scout here? It's so vulnerable. Everything's so vulnerable. I think it's fine though. Okay, draw a card. Come on, something good. Trample. Audacity. 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 This is going to force them to do something with the Kenrith though. Oh, when you call it. When you call it. Oh, baby. Dovin's Veto. Dovin's Veto was their last card. Okay, Audacity. Give me an Ethereal Armor. Second Ethereal Armor. Okay, Sheltered by Ghost. That's okay. We take an action with the Light Paws here. What do I want to grab? Let's grab a... I think... I think it's going to be the Griff's Boon. I can cast that from the graveyard, so even if they kill the Light Paw later on, I can do something maybe with that. Now, they can't do anything against this. Oh, no. I was going to say, should I have put that on Shrem? But no, I couldn't have. It was impossible. That's the way Light Paw works. Light Paw, the aura has to go on the Emperor's Voice. So they throw a little bit of... they protect themselves a little bit with the Hauntwood. They can bring it back, I guess. Kenrith is pretty neat, and they got a cool card here, but they don't... Oh, they drew a land. They're drawing so poorly. That's the only reason I think have a chance here. We also didn't draw that well, but at least we have a nice board. I don't know, playing this deck makes me feel way more nervous than any other deck that I play, and I think it's because you are always kind of like just on the edge of being completely blown out at all times. The deck is such a glass cannon, and like here they're gonna spin with Golos. I don't. Can they spin with Golos? Golos costs 6, right? It costs 7. 2, 4, 6. They're 1 mana short. Oh, thank God that they can't spin with Golos. I think I might be okay. I think I don't care about this attack. I think this was just my opponent completing their quest or something. Oh, okay. They had the mana. I forgot the Yorion was in their deck, or in their hand. That's why I think I've complained about that once upon a time. The way that the companion goes from the companion zone over, whatever, it doesn't matter. This game is well and truly over. Get out of here. And let's BM a little bit. Actually, I feel like I'm missing cards here. But yeah, we're gonna... This is enough. Okay. 29, 26. Yeah, what's going on here? I feel like something was a little bit strange. Whenever an aura you control enters the field, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura with a different name than each aura you control. Oh, I have to be careful with my reading because we already have the... What's it called? It's on here somewhere. How can I open him? The ethereal armor's here. I couldn't go grab the ethereal armor. That's what I was thinking. I didn't realize that it had to be a different one than was already on the field. I don't load up a lot of light balls. It's a little bit too vulnerable. But, okay. Look, it beats aggro. It beats control. Maybe this deck is real. We're going to play one more. Okay, things have gone well. Game number 3. Last one against Hexproof. Hexproof is not on Yorion, so maybe we see something a little bit different. What kind of deck do I want to see? Okay, so here is an interesting one. Do I trust the Admirer? My opponent has taken a mulligan. Now, this is something that I don't actually pay attention to very often, but I think in a deck where you are on the cusp of survival at all times and have to know what your creatures can and can't do, making note of your opponent maybe not having a full mitt of lands or being able to interact with this because of the Ward 2 is definitely going to be crucial. Now, the opponent playing a Paw Patch Recruit, and that is a thing. What is my opponent on? I actually feel incredibly safe. But do I feel too safe? I think I'm not going to go too ham. I wanted to throw out this and throw out the Audacity, but I don't think I'm brave enough to risk the possibility of the opponent having some kind of interaction. I do have the Rescue sitting here, so we can throw out the Hexproof if they decide to go after the Admirer. Now, if they miss their land drop, things might get a little different. I don't have lifelink, though, and so they did have the land. Okay. Yeah, no lifelink does make me a little bit scared. I'm going to throw the Boseiju on the field as a land. I still feel like I want to hold the Shard Mage's rescue up. And I think we're going to take one more turn just to do a little bit of damage. I can soak 4 damage. If they have a little bit more, it's not a big deal. But I think it's all about protecting the Admirer. My opponent, you have to read the card. I have to read the card. I have to read the card. Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay. Oh, it's just so amazing, and I was so cocky for about half a second. How many cards like that exist in this format? Okay, the good thing is, actually, the follow-up is not bad. Now, if I can peel a Sheltered by Ghost off the top here, I'm going to be real Gucci. I don't see Abrupt Decay nearly enough. This was one of the cards that I talked about in my economy video, talking about it not being able to craft it, or not being able to open it. Am I dead? I think I'm dead. That land draw was... So it can't be countered. It can't be countered if I... I'm so... I wonder the hue of my face. How red is it? If I had thrown out the Shard Mage's rescue and gave it Hexproof, does it actually counter? Does it? Because it can't be countered. Does Abrupt Decay actually just get through? I good. Well met, opponent. Well met. you got me. Okay. I actually have to look into that. I don't know if... I think it must still go through, right? Whew. My opponent's got some juicy stuff over there. Have I met my match? I don't even know what I bring in here against a Golgari good stuff. Okay, I think I'm just going to bring in one unflinching courage and pull out one of the Griff Spoons, and we'll try something like that. I feel like I just want to stay alive and get a nice big Glade Cover Scout on the field that, yeah, they can interact with the auras. They're definitely going to have the Abrupt Decay that's going to be able to interact with it, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Oh, this is sketchy. I'm going to try it, though, because I think 2 Light Paws are pretty good, and maybe they don't have the removal. Maybe they don't have it. But they have Thoughtseize. Back when I used to play this deck, it was... I don't remember exactly the deck that I would face, but it was a deck that had Thoughtseizes and Liliana the Veil, and I remember at that time in Modern, the thing that I was like most concerned about being able to do was just make sure that I had a creature on the field that I could sacrifice instead of the Bogle that I was loading up. And it was such a fun time. I kind of want to put the Audacity on Lightpaw because if they do remove it, it gives me another draw. But yeah, it was, man, holding up your fetch land so that you could go and grab a Dryad Arbor when Liliana the Veil hit the field and you had a Slippery Bogle that you were loading up. It was such... I just love that aspect of the deck, that there, at least the way I used to be able to play it, there were lines that you actually had to kind of predict what your opponent was going to play and be very careful. Like I said, it's a glass cannon deck, so yeah, you could just play it where you just throw everything out and pray that it works, but I don't know. how much do I trust Shram? They didn't have the interaction last time, and I'm wondering if actually their deck doesn't have a whole ton of it. So I could just throw out one Shram, hope it stays on the field, and if it doesn't, have another one to follow it up. But if I don't end up drawing any auras to start cycling through, it could be a problem. I'm gonna try it. I don't know. My instinct is kind of telling me this one's fine. Opponent playing some cool looking lands over there though. Okay, Audacity. Nice. Put this out tapped. No point in wasting life. And we just gotta hope our boy holds. Now they have 2 mana. Oh, they play out the Dread Knight. Okay. So they actually, that's a pretty threatening board. Fatal Push this time. Okay. Oh, questions. So I think, you know what? I think I'm gonna be a risky boy. I'm gonna put out this, and I'm gonna put out a Shrem. And if they are not able to deal with this Shrem, I think we're fine. And if they put a lot of their mana or effort into taking out the Shrem, what is this card? Hollow Merc Siege. As this enters, choose Sultai or Abzan. They chose Abzan. Whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains menace until the end of the turn. So I think I'm fine soaking 5 damage because I think this game is just kind of over, right? I'm going to put this on the Glade Cover Scout. I'm going to gain a little bit of life. Now, what I'm debating is, do I put out the Light Paw and the Sheltered by Ghost, or do I just put out the Audacity and the Sheltered by Ghost? I think I'm going to start with the Sheltered by Ghost and draw a card. Now, this card, whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a spell or an opponent controls or an ability, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature that you control other than that creature. So they're going to put a +1/+1 here. That's fine. Okay. I do still think I'm going to put the Audacity out instead of the Light Paw. I want to save a little bit of life. However, if I draw a good card, I could have put it out just to gain a little bit of life. Go up to 9. They're not going to be able to kill me. Okay. Throw this out. Hands off. Hands off. It's all up to the opponent. You got 3 mana. What are you going to do? They have they do have 5 points of damage effectively with this Mosswood Dread Knight, but I doubt that they have any kind of haste. Okay. I mean, I wasn't blocking that anyways with Menace. And they have the Scavenging Ooze, so they are going to be gaining a little bit of life. However, I do have... Oh, okay. We're good. We're good, we're good. If I just draw into a whole bunch of... Well, I was going to say if I draw into a bunch of auras that I could just keep loading up the Scout with, the Shelter by Ghost is irrelevant. I could just swing over it, but it was probably going to be the Shelter by Ghost there, and... Oh, okay. Wow, 3 in a row with Bogles. Maybe, what does Saffron Olive say? Maybe it's real. Is this real? Maybe it's real. Maybe it's real. So there it is. Slippery Bogles in Pioneer in 2025. We are becoming uninteractable once again, and I absolutely love it. My heart rate is genuinely up after playing those games. They were exciting for me. Man, just being right on the edge of winning and losing at all times. Just, yeah, I love it. Fantastic deck. So, in the end, yeah, everything feels really good. The deck feels tight to me. The deck has problems because the Bogles conundrum is that you always need to have that perfect balance of just enough lands, just enough creatures, and the rest auras. And if you ever have just a little bit too much in one area, the deck completely falls apart. It's all about lucking into that balance. And if you are a type of player who gets frustrated when your deck doesn't operate the way you expect it to or you hope it does, then this deck is probably not going to be ideal for you. However, if you just want to load up a little 1/1 and go to town on your opponent's face, then maybe this deck does have something awesome for you. I find it fun to play. I know there are people that are going to be like, I hate Boggles and I hate you for playing this and I hate you for even making a video about this. But hopefully there will be other people that will be like, oh yeah, the good old days. Let's load up a Slippery Boy and slam in. The main board I think is cool. I don't want to change much in that. Maybe a second Boseiju. That might be the only consideration that I'm looking at right now. Over in the sideboard, I still don't know about the Heroic Intervention. That's a card that I'm sussing out, I guess. And then I also don't really know about the Defector Might. I know I see some decks that play the Defector Might in the main board, but I don't like that. I just want either the cards that are drawing, or the cards that are going to draw me more cards or do their own thing, like Light Paw, or cards that I can load up. Otherwise, deck feels tight. Love it. Love the Unflinching Courage, even though people also probably look at this and go like, what is this, 2003? Maybe it is. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think about this deck, and if you have any deck recommendations or deck requests, please leave them in the comments. Any other comments just saying hi would be very helpful. And hey, subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff. I need more of that. Please fuel my ego. It helps. That's it for this one. Have a good week. I hope I get this out a little bit early. We'll see. Maybe midweek Wednesday is my goal. Have a lovely rest of your week, and take care for now. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.